All right, here we have another kind of a word problem. It's just really two sentences, so I don't really know if we should call it that, but I'm sure you guys will. So here's a mini word problem. And the directions do tell us to set up a proportion and solve. So directions can be very helpful. That kind of gives us a guide for what this problem should look like. We're going to have one fraction equal to one fraction. We will cross multiply and solve. So what do we have going on? We've got Jake. He bought 10 DVDs for $125. How many could he buy for $200? And we're missing our question mark. So on these more basic problems like this, where they tell you one thing, Jake bought 10 DVDs for $125. Let's take that information and represent that as a fraction, as a ratio. So we've got DVDs in dollars, so I'm going to put the 10 on top. Off on the side, I'm just going to make a note. I have the DVDs on the top. Over $125, so I'm going to put my money on the bottom. Now those labels off on the side are going to be super helpful to tell me what to do with the rest of the information. If I'm not paying attention to the fact that I've got DVDs on the top and money on the bottom, chances are I'm going to set this up wrong. So please, please, please just do those little labels, and then this will be great, no problem, easy to do. All right, so now how many could he buy? So they're talking how many DVDs could he buy for $200? Well, here's our third number. This has to go somewhere. We could put it up here or down here, and the question is, where does it go? So that's where we pay attention to how we set up our first ratio or our first fraction over on the left. This is $200, so where do the dollars go? You can see we put the DVDs on the top, and we put our money dollars on the bottom. So that tells us your $200 should go down here, so it matches up with the $125. The thing we don't know is how many DVDs, and that's going to be our variable. We'll go ahead and throw an X in right there. We have X number of DVDs right across from our 10 DVDs. So there's our nice simple setup. If you guys get the setup right, the rest of the problem's a breeze. So it's a fraction equal to a fraction. We get out of our fractions by cross multiplying. So I'm going to multiply this first diagonal. We have 125 times x. Now remember, set it equal to the other diagonal. Don't create a fraction out of this. That's the most common thing I see. 100 times 200 is 2,000. And then we go ahead and we solve for x. X is being multiplied by 125, so we'll go ahead and do the opposite of that and divide. Both sides by 125. Those cancel. And then feel free to grab your calculator unless you know this in your head. 2,000 divided by 125 is 16. So x equals 16. Now it's a word problem, which means we need to answer the question. How many could he buy for 200? Well, how many what? What are they asking about? They are asking about DVDs. So he could buy 16 DVDs. Would you get marked off for not having a label? Absolutely. So make sure that that's part of what you're doing.